Hey, Warren, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. I got to ask, you're a busy dude. Where are you at right now?
I'm actually home.
Are you really?
Yeah, we got home a few days ago. Our Halloween shows were the end of the tour, and now I'm back home.
How long are you going to be home? Because I believe you have a new tour starting here soon, correct?
Yeah, well, not real
End
soon.
of the year?
The end of the year. We're going to do some stuff at the end of the year, and then we go to Jamaica in January, and then we're hoping to be back in business next year.
Jamaica in January isn't a horrible thing.
It's something we've been doing every year now, which is a lot of fun.
Warren Haynes on the lines with me. Warren, I got to ask you right off the bat because I've heard it's pronounced different ways. Is it Haynes or Hayes?
Haynes.
Haynes, okay. I was doing some research for the interview, and I heard at least a dozen people call you Hayes. And I'm like, that doesn't look right.
No, it's incorrect.
Well, Warren, Gov't Mule, you guys are doing a blues album, right?
We have a blues record coming out on November 12th, and it's called Heavy Load Blues. And it's our first blues album, even though blues is a big influence on our music. I would consider Gov't Mule a rock band. We play blues on stage sometimes. We tend to interpret it our own way, but for this record, where it's a little more paying homage to where it all came from.
I was watching the making of video of this, and I thought there was a couple interesting things. One, you recorded it differently than you would a regular rock album, correct? It was live, essentially.
Yes, I mean we like to record as live as possible, but for this record, we're set up really close together, all playing at the same time, which we do anyway. But even the vocals are live. We're not wearing headphones. We're using a little monitor. And I think it was the best way to capture this music.
In the world of recording, that's odd or at least different, correct?
Absolutely.
Warren Haynes on the line with me right now talking about Heavy Load Blues coming out November 12th. Go back, at what point did you go, you know what, we really should make this a Gov't Mule blues album? Because at the beginning it might be just a Warren project and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, and when we were talking about going back in to make our next Gov't Mule record, because we were long overdue, Stephanie, our manager, came up with the idea of what about making a blues record, and it was something that I've been talking about for a long time, but I'd never really talked to the other members of Mule about it. And so during one of our meetings, we brought it up, and everybody was like, yeah, we should do it. And I was very happy that it went that way because I love the way Gov't Mule interprets blues. It has our collective personality, our chemistry as a band. Once we made that decision, it was like, well, let's just talk about when and where and how.
Was it a hard decision to make it? Because, like you said, you consider Mule a rock band. Was it hard or was it a hard sell to go, you know what, the blues thing might work for us? Or was it just everybody was like, hey, let's do something new?
Well, this is our 11th studio album, so it was, I guess, not a hard decision based on the fact that, once you get past 10 records, everybody's asking, so is there anything you haven't done before that you want to do? And, that's kind of been the mindset for me, and especially in a lot of interviews, somebody will say, well, what haven't you done that you would like to do? And I would say, well, I'd like to do a traditional blues record,
Now what are you going to say, polka?
No, I'm ruling polka out. The only other thing that I've threatened to do is a jazz-influenced instrumental record, which I'd like to do at some point. But otherwise, I think we've covered most of the influences as part of the overall Gov't Mule picture. I just want to continue writing new material and exploring as many influences as possible. And that's what we did for a separate Gov't Mule record that's going to come out next year.
Okay, cool. Warren Haynes on the line with me, talking about Heavy Load Blues. There was a line in the making of video where you said, we've got at least enough stuff for 2 albums. Was it hard to pick out what you guys were going to put on this album, or was it easy, or how was that process?
Well, I made a list of 40 or 50 blues cover tunes that I think we wound up doing maybe 15 or something. And then there were 7 original songs. We decided to use a lot of the stuff for the deluxe edition, which has 2 CDs instead of 1. It was a hard decision to make, but because we kept moving stuff to the top of the list or moving something to the bottom of the list based on the tempos of the songs and how similar one song was to another, and those sort of decisions that you make in the studio while making a record. But I feel like if the urge hit us to go back and make Heavy Load Blues Volume 2, we have a pretty good start on that, you know.
That could be an interesting album, like a live version of that. Would you guys ever add, like, you know, more horns? Or because I saw the organ, I was happy to see the organ in there. Is this something you could add more horns or more, you know, whatever to make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah, you know, the sky's the limit. We put a horn section on one song on the standard CD and one song on the deluxe CD, and we added harmonica to one song on the standard CD and one song on the deluxe CD. And then there's a couple of live tracks, one which has our friend Hook Herrera, who also played the studio harmonica. He's playing with us on this live track. Yeah, it's nice to, you know, explore a lot of different directions. Even in the confines of the blues, there's so many different types of blues and different instrumentation that you can explore. And we covered a lot of ground just in this album alone.
I know you said you have another album coming out next year. Is it more rock-based than blues-based, or is blues kind of the way of... Okay.
As for now, I'm looking at this as a one-time thing, but that doesn't mean that we won't do it again. But the next album is more what people would expect from Gov't Mule.
Awesome. Warren Haynes from Gov't Mule on the line talking Heavy Load Blues. So you got a trip to Jamaica coming up here. How are the holidays looking for you?
Well, hopefully we'll be able to travel because I'm from North Carolina and my wife's from her family's in Virginia. So usually we go to both of those places, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. Just looking forward to things getting back to normal.
Is it hard to come off the road? Does it take a couple of weeks to adjust to, you know, the slower lifestyle, or?
Yeah, it does, you know, and normally it wouldn't be so hard to adjust to getting back on the road because I'm usually on the road so much.
Yeah. But
spending a year and a half off the road took quite a bit of adjusting. First to being off the road and then to getting back on the road. Both of those were major adjustments.
Do you mind if I ask you, how did you guys spend your time during the pandemic? I've found that's been an interesting answer with different bands and how they use that time. What was it like for you guys?
Well, in the beginning, going crazy like everybody else, which the solace in all this was spending time with my family more so than ever. And then it turned into an opportunity for me to write more music than I've written in decades. And I tend to write a fair amount anyway, but I wrote so much music over the last year and a half. And that was really the saving grace. And then once the pandemic started curtailing a little and everyone was vaccinated, we thought, well, let's get in the studio and do as much recording as possible. And then here we are now, but it was a challenge as it was for everybody. I think one of the reasons we made a blues record is because the whole world's going through the same thing right now. I think everybody's got the blues right now.
You're not wrong, and to bring a blues, especially a live recorded blues album, around on vinyl at the moment, that's probably a pretty good move.
For me anyway, I know it feels good.
And I got to tell you, just a real quick, the copper version of the vinyl looks awesome.
Thanks, I love that one too.
I was going through the site, and I'm like, oh, that is nice looking. So anyways, hey, Warren, I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and best of luck with the album, okay, man?
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you.
All right, have a good day.
Bye-bye.